Hey, welcome to episode 1, the very first one of these Pedal Faster Club race breakdowns. So, share my own personal breakdowns of places where I could have improved, didn't do what I wanted to do, all that kind of stuff, all in the spirit of learning how to be better and hopefully, sharing with the community out there ways, that me as a fairly new Zwift racer, always trying to gain skills, gain strength, learn racecraft, all of that, can share out, what I learned from this experience and this one in particular. This is the current 2021-2022 season of Zwift Racing League. This is race 2. I did not get the first one, the team time trial that started, a week before this one. But this is the figure 8 reverse route, and it was the first scratch race, the first point race of this season. So went into it with a lot of strategy, a lot of plans with the team, who was going to do what, lead outs, all that kind of stuff. And of course, once you get rolling, so much of that just goes out the window. It's still good to have a plan. Still good to have some idea of what you want to do. But, today my legs were not agreeing with me. I've learned a lot about nutrition and what my body likes to do in preparation for a race. And I'll share that as we go along here. But at the end of the day, I think I may have finished top 60. So I'm not even in the top half. Maybe it was top 50. We'll see. But wasn't where I wanted to be, and I just felt like I had a lot more to give and didn't. So yeah, we'll kind of break it down here. We'll stick with this through the first sprint point, which I think on here is what's it called? Maybe it's just called sprint. I don't know. We'll learn all this stuff. I've been Zwifting since October of last year. So, hey, it's been a year. A year of Zwift. One of the pandemic silver linings. So many horrible things with the pandemic. But also opportunities here and there and silver linings and good things that came out of it. My work travel pre-pandemic wouldn't have allowed me to do a lot of what I've been doing in terms of getting back in the saddle with my cycling and discovering ways to continue cycling through our winters here. I live in Alaska, so I'm not one of those hardcore souls that will brave ice and snow and the cold, freezing temperatures to ride outside. I was raised in California, so I blame that. I do like to be inside when I'm doing this in the winter, and Zwift lets me pretend I am in warm places with sunshine, like what I'm seeing here. So anyhow, leading into this first sprint, the plan was to come over this hill closer to the front. And had a teammate saying, "Where are you?" Because the idea was to get out ahead of the group and just basically start the sprint here. But I was back in 50 plus place. I did move up a little bit. And important lesson here. I'm new to streaming as well, right? So, I have OBS running, started my stream. You can see in the video, I'm hitting the spacebar. I have an arrow power up. I hit the spacebar once, twice, even try it one more time right there, and nothing's happening. And in my head, in the moment, it's taken away. That totally destroyed my concentration on the sprint. I was like, well, if I can't use the arrow, all sorts of stuff. Like, it did not go as planned. in my head, what was happening was, it's a Bluetooth keyboard. It needs a second or two to connect. I've had that happen before. But, I gave it a second or two, still wasn't connecting. Gave it a few more seconds, still wasn't connecting. Turns out the focus was, the problem was that my mouse cursor, my last action was to hit start streaming in OBS. And that took focus away from the Zwift window. So when I hit the spacebar, it wasn't controlling anything in Zwift. I didn't realize that until later. And the funny part is that I didn't realize till later either. If you see in the video of me on my bike, there's an iPad right next to me. It's on a stand. It's right next to me, running Zwift Companion. From Zwift Companion, you can touch your power up. That did not occur to me in the moment. Lesson learned, right? Okay. So here we are. We just started the Zwift KOM. Climbing is something I have been working on. I struggle with it. I think it's much more mental than physical. Because really it's a different way to, put out power. There's not much difference. Like resistance goes up, but you have gears. You can gear, down to keep resistance manageable. And then it's just another way of putting out power. But, I look at that screen and it's up. I see the gradient at, 7% right now. And it's just a mental thing. I'm always trying to climb more to get more comfortable with it and overcome that sort of mental block. And in real life too, it gets me. Although in real life, it's a lot more difficult. You don't have a trainer difficulty. And when you have an 1128 cassette, you can only spend so much when gravity's pulling you the other way. So anyways, I got dropped right here. I was doing all right, keeping up with that lead pack, but here is where I lose contact. We get strung out a little bit. I lose contact, and I don't have the legs after that half sprint and that half-hearted attempt at a climb to bridge back to them. So that's that. I'm now basically riding solo or with small groups from this point, not even 9 minutes, not even 10 minutes into the race through the end of the race. So not ideal. I mentioned as we come up on the KOM banner here, nutrition and what my body likes the day before or the day of races. Nutrition wise, I was, when I first started, I was very much into, having a protein bar or something like that before a race. And then I'd get into the race and sometimes bonk, sometimes I'd be fine, whatever. This past summer, I did some in real life races that were super fun and learned a little bit more about feeling good for those. And, I found for me, maybe the night before having a fairly carb heavy meal. So, I mean, the classic carbo loading, but maybe even a couple nights before, do like a good, carby meal. The day before a race, I tend to perform better in the race if I have somewhat tired legs going into it. And I've narrowed down to something in like the 80 to 90 strain scale. So if you're on Train Road or Exert or something like that, in that 80 to 90 strain range, seems to get my legs in a good spot for a race the next day. And so that night I might have something a little bit lighter. And then about 3 or 4 hours before the race, I'll have, my go-to meal has been a bowl of oatmeal, half a cup of oats, maybe some powdered peanut butter that I've discovered over the past couple of months, actually introduced to me by another Dirt team member. A lot of protein, a lot of good stuff, less of the fat. Mix that in to my oatmeal, a couple tablespoons, and bananas, a banana kind of chopped up in there. Seems to be a pretty good, I feel really good then going into the race, and I have not had that weird sort of, I don't know, I feel like I have a lot more energy for a lot longer in a race than when I was eating just a protein bar, which isn't really something, you know, as I've learned a little bit more about nutrition, wasn't doing me a lot of good. Anyways, through the KOM here, still in the top 40 at least, to get our first real relief. We had the S's, that hill climb part, the sprint, and then into the KOM. So it was a lot of exertion right up front in this race, and then coming down the KOM at least was a little bit of a coast. Dropped back to 50th place, found a group to kind of tail behind. Try my hardest not to get dropped from this group. We're coming up on the second sprint, so the Watopia figure 8 reverse basically hits all the roads in the Watopia land on the flats, and hits the sprint in both directions. So this will be the reverse sprint. I've gotten dropped on this hill so many times in the past that I know I need to kick it up. It's one of those lessons learned, you know, you race enough, you hit, you know, the same. if you don't pick it up after a few times, you know, you're destined for failure, which, geez, even after 5 or 6 times, I'll hit that point and be like, I totally forgot. But if you punch it hard up that little kicker, you set yourself up better for keeping up on the descent. Obviously, I failed a little bit here. Still, I had to pedal pretty hard to catch back up to that group. And so again, you know, I've always considered myself more of a sprinter than anything else. Not that I'm super great at it. I've you know, managed to kick out 1100 watts here and there, never during a race. Again, I think it's a mental thing. But coming into this, legs just weren't here. And so you'll see, I think maybe I squeaked out 600 watts. Let's see, here we go. Figured out aero boost, aero power up. Use my iPad. Yeah, see, I mean, really not contributing too much to a sprint here. Legs were done. And so, interesting, you know, I mentioned doing like 80 to 90 on the strain scale like the day before. The day before this race, I did a kind of active recovery warm-up that ended up, you know, a super, super light spin, somewhere in the 30 to 34 strain range. And I think what happens, and this is totally, you know, just my best guess, I've been, you know, building up these ZRL races, like, you know, save your legs, save your legs, save your legs. So I will, you know, do a hard effort on like a Friday. These races are on Tuesday, so I'll do a hard effort on a Friday, total rest, nothing on Saturday, Sunday. Mondays, I'll do, you know, like typically my whole thought process, saving legs, all that, would be to do something really light on a Monday and then hit Tuesday hard, thinking, okay, fresh legs. But what I think happens, and again, going back to the mental aspect of it, I think over that Saturday, Sunday, Monday period, my body, my brain, everything kind of loses the feel of what it's like to push hard. And so, you know, if I do an active recovery on Monday, it's some sort of effort, but it's not pushing hard. And so I get here into a race situation where I don't typically have time to do a good warm up in any case, but get into this race situation, and it's like I feel like I'm pushing harder than my numbers show, and it's like my body limiter has dropped over the previous 3 days of not doing much. And what I found in the previous season of ZRL is that I would do these races. I'd do a Tuesday race and not perform the way I feel like I should have. And so it's kind of like punishment or just like, wanting to prove that I was better than that on, Wednesday or Thursday following the race, I would enter a crit or enter, a 20K, 30K, 40K race in Zwift, just some random race, and like smash it. I would do so well. I would be really proud of myself. I placed in like podium spots in a number of those races that came after the ZRL races that I would feel horrible about how I finished. I think some of it is competition. People in ZRL are pushing typically harder than, somebody in like a random race will. But my numbers would actually be better. My power numbers, just, being able to bust out a 1,000-watt sprint instead of, whatever that was that I just did, or being able to, hang with a lead group for a long time. All seemed to be better if I had a big effort or a bigger effort before the race. So after this one where I did it's super light active recovery on Monday, and then had this showing on Tuesday. It wasn't going to be an immediate change because the following week I wasn't going to be able to ride on Monday at all. And so we'll see how we did there. But I think what I'm going to try to do is just do, like an 80 to 90 strain scale, whether it's a, short hard race like a crit, or longer workout that actually, engages my legs, engages my muscles, makes me think about how hard I'm pushing without fatiguing totally, will be what I try before future races. And we'll see if that makes any difference. I'll, even this, I'm building some level of endurance, some level of base. And so over the next, 6 weeks, should see improvement just based on that. But I do want to finish better than I did here. I do want to, contribute some points to the team. So continue tweaking things one thing at a time. I think I've got nutrition figured out. I always feel good about what I've eaten before these races. So we'll keep that the same, but my workout or activity the day before is what we'll aim to change. So that was the second KOM. As you see, I keep dropping back. Every time we hit a climb, I lose a few places. I burned an aero boost right there trying to catch up to a teammate who had passed me and descended better than I was able to. So now here I am back in the 60s. So I did finished in the top 60. I think we'll see what I managed to bust out as a sprint up here. So anyways, if you're still there listening, thanks. I really appreciate it. I hope that something I've said has been helpful. Then we're coming up on the end here. Just several hundred meters left, but it goes fast. My goal here was, can I beat somebody to the line? Can I beat one of these people in this group to the line? Set a low bar.
My legs fell off.
No power-ups going into this, so that was a disadvantage. Need to learn how to manage my energy a little bit better. And again, just that racecraft. So here we are. Started a sprint. I think I catch somebody. There's one person. All right. So 60th on the dot, believe is what I finished. So anyways, yeah, it was fun. Good workout. Always fun racing with a team, especially as indoor team sports are not an option these days, or at least not an option I want to pursue. So it's good to be able to get a workout in, get some teamwork, whatever I can contribute, even if it's just finishing points way back at 60th. But yeah, we'll keep doing these. I'm on a WTRL team time trial Thursdays as well, and then some random crits and other races here and there as they come up and as I feel like I have the energy to go for it. So thanks again. We'll catch you next time. Remember, pedal faster, pedal harder, repeat. It's a cycle. All right. We'll catch you next time. Stay tuned. Take care. Ride on.